Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. She was kind-hearted, but her life was far from easy. After her mother's untimely death, her father remarried a woman with 2 daughters of her own. Unfortunately, Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were not as kind as she was. They treated Cinderella as a servant, forcing her to do all the household chores while they enjoyed a life of luxury. Cinderella spent her days sweeping floors, cleaning dishes, and tending to the needs of her stepfamily. Despite the unfair treatment, Cinderella maintained a positive spirit and dreamed of a better life. One day, news spread throughout the village that the prince would be holding a grand ball. Every eligible young woman in the kingdom was invited, as the prince was in search of a bride. Cinderella's stepsisters were overjoyed at the prospect of attending the ball, and they spent their days selecting beautiful gowns and practicing their dance moves. Cinderella watched from the sidelines, longing to be a part of the excitement. Her stepmother, however, had different plans. "You, Cinderella, will stay at home," she declared, a wicked glint in her eye. "A servant like you has no place among royalty." Cinderella's heart sank, but she refused to let her dreams be shattered. She retreated to her tiny room, where she found solace in the company of little mice that lived in the walls. "Don't worry," she whispered to them. "I may not be able to attend the ball, but I still have hope." As the day of the ball approached, Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters grew more excited. They spent hours getting ready, with servants attending to their every need. Cinderella watched them from afar, her heart heavy with longing. Just as Cinderella began to lose hope, a gentle voice called out to her. "Cinderella, fear not! I am your fairy godmother, and I am here to help you." Cinderella's eyes widened in amazement as a beautiful fairy appeared before her. With a wave of her wand, the fairy godmother transformed a pumpkin into a magnificent carriage, mice into horses, and lizards into footmen. Then, she turned Cinderella's tattered dress into a breathtaking gown, and her worn-out shoes into delicate glass slippers. "Remember, my dear," the fairy godmother cautioned, "this magic will only last until midnight. You must leave the ball before then, or everything will return to its original state." Cinderella's heart was filled with gratitude as she stepped into the enchanting carriage. With a swirl of her gown, she was off to the grand ball, her dreams finally within reach. As Cinderella arrived at the palace, she was greeted by a breathtaking sight. The ballroom was adorned with sparkling chandeliers, and the air was filled with laughter and music. Cinderella felt like she had stepped into a fairy tale. Whispers of awe followed Cinderella as she made her way through the crowd. The prince himself, captivated by her beauty and grace, watched as she entered the ballroom. He was drawn to her kindness and humility, which shone through despite her extravagant appearance. Cinderella's stepsisters, who had failed to recognize her, were envious of the attention she received. They watched from afar as Cinderella danced with the prince, their jealousy turning into bitter resentment. As the night went on, Cinderella and the prince grew closer. They laughed, they danced, and they shared stories. Cinderella felt as if she were floating on air, and the prince couldn't help but be enchanted by her presence. But as the clock struck midnight, Cinderella's heart sank. She knew she had to leave before the magic wore off. With a regretful smile, she slipped away from the prince's grasp and rushed towards the exit. In her haste, one of her glass slippers slipped off her foot and was left behind on the grand staircase. Cinderella didn't have time to retrieve it, and she disappeared into the night. The prince, determined to find the mysterious woman who had stolen his heart, picked up the glass slipper. He announced that whoever could fit the slipper would be his bride. Messengers were sent throughout the kingdom, and every eligible young woman tried to squeeze her foot into the delicate shoe. Back at Cinderella's home, her stepmother and stepsisters were astounded when they heard the news. They were desperate to marry the prince and gain wealth and status. They tried their best to fit into the slipper, but their feet were too large. When the messengers arrived at Cinderella's house, her stepsisters were shocked to see her step forward. "I would like to try on the slipper," she said, her voice filled with quiet confidence. Her stepmother and stepsisters laughed in disbelief. "You? A servant girl? Never!" they exclaimed. But Cinderella remained calm. With a graceful ease, she slipped her foot into the glass slipper, and it fit perfectly. The room fell silent as the messengers realized they had found the mysterious woman from the ball. The prince, who had accompanied the messengers, couldn't contain his joy. He recognized Cinderella instantly and marveled at her transformation. He asked for her hand in marriage, and Cinderella tearfully accepted. Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters, now realizing their cruelty, begged for forgiveness. Cinderella, with a forgiving heart, embraced them and welcomed them into her new life. She knew that love and kindness had the power to heal wounds and change hearts. And so, Cinderella married the prince and became the princess she had always dreamed of being. She used her newfound position to advocate for the less fortunate and bring happiness to those in need. But Cinderella never forgot her humble beginnings. She continued to be kind and compassionate, always treating others with respect and empathy. Her story became a legend, passed down through generations, reminding everyone that true beauty lies within the heart. Cinderella's marriage to the prince brought great joy to the kingdom. The couple's love and compassion inspired everyone around them, and the prince's subjects admired Cinderella for her humble nature and unwavering kindness. As the princess, Cinderella used her position to make a difference in the lives of the less fortunate. She established charitable programs, providing food and shelter to those in need. She visited orphanages and hospitals, offering comfort and support to the vulnerable. Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters, having learned from their past mistakes, underwent a transformation of their own. They saw the error of their ways and sought forgiveness from Cinderella. Recognizing their genuine remorse, Cinderella forgave them wholeheartedly, and they became a part of her extended family. The palace became a place of warmth and inclusivity under Cinderella's reign. Cinderella's kindness and generosity touched the hearts of the people, and the kingdom thrived under her compassionate rule. Years passed, and Cinderella and the prince were blessed with children of their own. The royal family lived harmoniously, cherishing the values of love, empathy, and humility that Cinderella had instilled in their lives. Cinderella's story became a legend, passed down through generations as a tale of resilience, forgiveness, and the transformative power of kindness. The villagers often gathered around the fireplace, sharing the story with wide-eyed children, reminding them that no matter the circumstances, goodness and compassion can prevail. And so, the legacy of Cinderella lived on, inspiring generations to believe in the power of their dreams and the importance of treating others with kindness and respect. For in the end, Cinderella taught us that true happiness lies not in material possessions or external appearances but in the depth of our hearts and the love we share with others. And they all truly lived happily ever after. The end.